We've got one more topic that we are going to be looking at over the next week, which works out really well because the only way that you will be able to tell time during EOG is going to be by that clock right there. This will be completely off, and you will not be able to see the time on your computer because the only thing you'll be able to see is the test. So, nope, if you will not be wearing a watch. Nobody will be wearing a watch. The title on the next blank page is going to be telling time. Go ahead and title the next blank page, telling time. Underneath that, if you will, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. If you will, underneath that, write that the clock is just a number line. And then I want you to think about what does that sentence mean. We're going to talk about that. So you're writing these two things down, and then we're going to talk about that sentence. The clock is just a number line. Yes. What do you think that sentence means? The clock is just a number line. What do you think that means? Mason, what do you think that means?
It could be like it's got numbers on it, and it tells you the time in a pattern or something.
Beautiful. Love that. Clock's got numbers on it. Number lines have numbers on it. That makes complete sense. Our clock numbers, take a look at them. Are they counting in a specific order?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have numbers all over the place.
They're counting by 5.
They go in a specific order. Our number line is just really short. What number does this number line, my clock, start at? What number does it start at? It's not a trick question. Archer?
12.
Sure. We could say that it starts at 12. This is my pretend 0. So I put that in parentheses because it's not really 0. It says 12. Where does my number line end? That's tricky. Think about it. Raise your hand, Mason. You got thoughts. Think about what a clock does as it's moving. Where does it end? Maverick?
It ends at 12.
It ends at 12. All right, so wait a second. 12 to 12, there's no numbers in between 12 and 12. No, there are no numbers between 12 and 12. It's the same number. So what's going on my clock number line, though? Because I don't just have the number 12 up there. That would be kind of weird. Ava?
Isn't that other 12 at the end technically a 1?
Nope, it's not a 1. Jordan?
Since we're on a clock, so, it...
Just for explain, Lydia?
So, like, if you're looking at a clock and it starts at 12, it goes all the way around and then ends at 12.
So what comes after 12?
1.
Then 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
We need to add a word in our sentence. Because a number line is typically very straight. But what makes the clock tricky is it's not a straight line, is it? So let's put a little caret in between the letter A and the word number. Because we're going to add in a word there. The clock is not just a number line. It's a special number line because it's round. This is a number line stuck in a loop. It goes around till it gets to that ending number of 12 and that starts back over again. It's stuck on the same number line cycle.
On the pattern.
Yes, Bowen, thanks. Raise your hand.
If you're counting the hours, if you're counting the minutes, you're counting by 5.
So let's hang on to that nugget of knowledge. Bowen is correct. Those large numbers that we're looking at are counting hours.
Fun.
We're going in increments of an hour. But I need you to look at our clock and then break it so that we've got that big number line. Can you do that in your head? Kind of turn that round shape into a long number line. Look at the clock. See if you can do that. See if you can turn that roundness into a straight number line.
Well, is it
Wait, what's that, baby?
well, isn't a straight line technically a circle if you bend it into a circle?
Yes, but then it's not a straight line anymore.
Straight line.
If I bend it to a circle, it's not a straight line anymore.
It's a curve.
But yes, it would have started out that way, and then we've just connected it. So we're just looping. This would be a really good time. See that? See how funny I was just now?
Oh, ha ha.
Oh, good time.
Ah.
Come on, bro. You're like king of puns. I'm over here making one.
Oh.
This would be a good time to talk about military time. Raise your hand if you've heard of military time and or know what it means. Oh, we're not yelling our thoughts out. We're just raising our hands. Addison, what do you know about military time?
Military time doesn't really go by 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, it doesn't go by one digit numbers. It always goes by.
Nope, that's not true. Nope, that's not true. Bowen, what do you know about military time?
That they use it they use hours.
Okay. Connor, what do you know about military time?
I've never heard about it, but it might be like a type of time. Like, it isn't like normal time.
So,
Maybe it's like a type of.
when we talk about military time, it's the same time. It's just organized a slightly different way. Mason, what do you know about
Yo, stop
military
it,
time?
I'm not 100% sure, but
Love it.
I think they start at 10, they go all the way up to 20.
So we don't start at 10, but you've got a good start in there. Maverick, what do you know about military time?
So basically, it starts at 1 and then it goes up until a certain number, and then it goes above 12, and whenever it goes above 12, you always have to subtract. I think it starts at 12 and then it goes up and then you have to subtract 12.
All right, so we're going to talk about military time in a second, but let's first just revisit how our clock works. I'm writing, that means you're writing 1 day is worth how many hours?
20.
We're gonna talk in terms of hours. Ava, how many hours?
24 hours.
24 hours.
Counting the day and the night.
One whole, when I say the word day, I mean the whole date. All of March, or May, 30th is what I'm talking about. Does that make sense? So I'm not talking about, when I say the word day, I am not talking about only the time that the sun is out. When I say the word day, I'm talking about the entire May 30th. All of the times that it's May 30th.
So like when you're sleeping too.
It's still May 30th, yes.
Until
How many times around my number line would I need to go to equal 1 day? So look at our clock number line. Bowen already told us these numbers represent hours. So how many loops would I need to go around my number line to be worth 1 day? Julian?
2 times.
It's 2 times.
Does that mean a day is 12
1,
hours?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I loop back again. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 hours. So 1 day is worth 2 loops on a clock number line. Hang on to that thought. Hang on to that thought. In regular people land, where you and I live, we have to add a special abbreviation to know which loop we're talking about. Let's put it to you this way. I'm having a birthday party. 7 o'clock. Most of you might think 7 o'clock in the evening, but I'm having my birthday party at a coffee shop. Do you think I might mean 7 o'clock in the evening? No. No. So we have that problem now. We have 2 sevens. We have one on the first loop, and then one on the second loop. We have 2 of each number. Harsha, what do you know about this problem where we have 2 loops? We have 2 of the same numbers.
So, if you were like saying like, this is my birthday party's at this time.
Sure.
In the afternoon.
Sure.
It would be p.m. And if it was in the morning, it would be a.m.
So we have an acronym, which is Latin, and I can't remember what it means. I can Google it later. AM is the first loop. This would be the morning time.
PM is the second.
PM is our second loop.
There's 12 o'clock, which is lunchtime, and there's 12 o'clock in the.
What is that second 12 o'clock? Mason, you got it.
So there's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's 12 o'clock in the night.
What is that nighttime one called?
p.m.
PM.
It has a special name when it's 12 o'clock at nighttime.
Midnight.
Midnight, there you go. So, for our regular population, we know if I'm saying something is happening at a certain time, unless it's really obvious, I'm going to need to say, am I talking about the first loop, or am I talking about the second loop?
Like 7 p.m. or 7
Exactly. 5 o'clock p.m. is very different than 5 o'clock a.m.
Because a.m. is in the morning.
We need to know which one we're talking about. So back to military time. Go ahead and write that in your notebook. The military, for those of you who have a dad or a mom or an aunt or uncle or whatever in the military, you 100% know that the military likes to be very efficient. They like to be very exact, and they like to be very efficient. You need to be here at this exact time to do this exact thing. They're very clear that way. It's what makes our military work so well. They're very specific. Stop talking while I'm talking going. They're very specific of what job you need to do and when you need to do it. They did not like this idea that I could say 6 o'clock and I could be talking about 2 very different times because of those 2 loops. They also said saying 6 o'clock a.m. or 6 o'clock p.m. is just too many letters. Too many extra things. So this is what they did. Go ahead and draw another number line. Just like what we're used to. Their time starts at 12, which is a 0. It also goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is 12. This is our first loop. What do we call our first loop? Don't yell it out at me. Raise your hand, please.
a.m.
AM. The military said, I don't need that AM. I'll just keep on counting. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. They literally just keep counting. I'm writing my numbers on either side just because it's pretty
That makes sense.
small.
There's 2 different 6 or 6.
So I just moved my numbers because it was hard for my marker to fit in there. But go ahead and label the time. And Cole, if that first loop is AM, what's that second loop called?
p.m.
PM. So when we are using military time, it's still the same time, just means I'm saying it in a way that the military would say. If I am talking about 1 o'clock p.m., I'm not going to say 1 o'clock p.m. I'm going to say
10.
Nope.
11.
13. Because that's where my 1 would be, right?
Yeah, 13 o'clock.
I would be at 13, they say 1300, but 13 o'clock, yes.
1300.
Because 13 o'clock looks like this, and this is the number 1300.
Okay, that was weird. Like,
That's like 1,000.
1300.
So if I'm talking about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, what would I say if I'm using military time? I'm not going to say 2 p.m. I'm going to say, Jordan, 14 o'clock.
14.
What if I'm talking about 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Oh.
What might I say, Mason?
16.
Not 16.
13.
So I'll give you a hint. 14 o'clock was 2. What would 3 be? 14 was 2. What would 3 be?
Well,
Nope. It's 15. We're going forward.
No, I thought it was double the number every single time.
Nope, we don't double the number. We just keep counting.
The 13.
Exactly. What if I was talking about midnight? The very end of my second loop.
12.
What time would that be?
Those are stupid.
No, thank you. Emma? 24. All the way at the end.
Why would you say?
We don't need to learn this or practice it, but I know many of you do have someone or know someone in the military, and you might have heard people say things like 14:30, and you're like, that doesn't sound like a time. Oh, no, 14 on the clock. Now you know what they're talking about and where that came from. Maverick?
I learned at the clock in my bedroom, and my mom and dad accidentally set it up to 2 minutes at a time. So now I can.
All right, let's go ahead and turn the page. Because so far, we've really only looked at the numbers on top. We haven't talked about how quickly we are moving to those numbers. We just looked at the numbers. So in our number system, when we are counting, we group things in groups of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Our groups of 10 are the big grouping systems. When we get enough 10s, we can move places to get to what place value? Hundreds, which is groups of 10. So our system, when we count and pull stuff doing that, is in groups of 10. Unfortunately, our clock is not. But our clock does count by groups.
It counts by 5.
Nope. So, one rotation, my little black skinny hand, I'm calling it a hand, it's a line on the clock. It takes 60 seconds to start at that 12-0 and go all the way around. That trip is worth how much time? Callie? 1 minute. So 60 seconds, write that down, is worth the same amount of time as 1 minute. If you were to watch that second hand, called the second hand, it shows my second, go all the way around, that would be the time that is worth 1 minute. Colby, you wrote that down? Yes? You might notice that we don't count time by seconds. We don't say in 3,000 seconds, it'll be this time. that unit of measure is too small. So we use something bigger. We use minutes. Minutes is a bigger chunk of time than seconds, right? Seconds are slow, minutes are fast, seconds are fast, minutes are a little bit slower. My friends who are up close, can you see dashes in between each of those whole numbers?
I can see them.
Yeah. Does anyone know how many dashes there are?
I don't know.
It's not a random number. It's a very specific number.
6.
Connor?
60.
There are 60
Why?
dashes. Why do you think there are 60 dashes?
Because every time the second hand goes, it lands on each individual one. And also, I'm pretty sure.
Look at the second hand. Hang on, pause. Look at the second hand. It's not just making random jumps. Connor noticed, Paxton, look at the second hand. It's landing on one of those dashes every single time you're looking at the clock. Alright, what was the other thought you had, Paxton? Or sorry, not Paxton, Connor.
My other one is that the minute timer also, I'm pretty sure does that because it has to go around 60 times too. But hour can also do that.
So now we're talking about our next largest measurement of time. We know that one round around my clock, when I go at second speed, is worth 1 minute. If I do 60 minutes, write that down. That is worth
1 hour.
1
Hour.
hour. Spell hour correctly. It's a weird word.
HOUR.
Spell hour correctly in your notebook.
What did this say?
Page. Title it Parts of a Clock. Parts of a Clock is your next title. If you want to make it a subtitle, if you got space, that's fine. I don't care. Parts of a Clock. These sticks on a clock are called hands. So you're going to hear me use the word hands. And I'm talking about those sticks. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? We've already talked about one. It's not on this clock, but I'll go ahead and draw it. At least it won't let me. Alright, let's do this. Draw a circle.
I want to let you draw.
I don't know. Draw a circle. At the top of a clock is always the same number. It's not 10. Look at the top of the clock. What number is at the top?
12.
12. It's always 12. Every single time it's always 12.
I don't know how to read a clock, so I really don't know.
Lisa, I just asked you what number's at the top. You can't figure out what number's at the top?
2. 10.
The very top of the clock, in the middle is 12. Directly underneath,
I can't see because it was later.
directly underneath the 12
It's 6.
is what number? Someone?
6.
6. The farthest number to the right
It's
is a 3.
Oh.
And directly across the 3 is
9.
9. These are my benchmark numbers on a clock. Now that I have written those down, I can much easier put the other numbers in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So by now, your clock needs to be completely filled out. Archer, what's up?
I noticed that 12, like how the 6 is right above the 12 is above the 6. 6 is a skip count of 12, and 9 is directly like across from the 3. And 3 is also a skip count of 9.
Crazy.
And for skip.
There are a lot of patterns within our clock system, just like there are in our counting system. Marley, what?
I have a question.
Alright, I'm going to put a dot in the middle. And I'm going to make a second hand. You can point it at wherever you want. I'm I'm gonna make my second hand just like this. The second hand is known for being skinny and long. It's called a second hand because guess what it counts by?
Second.
It moves every 1 second. Yes. Yep. Sometimes on these school clocks, that second hand quickly will be red. So sometimes you will see the second hand is red. Again, just to make it a little easier to see.
That's what I thought it was.
Alright, the next hand we're going to look at, if I look at my clock, you'll notice that one of them is shorter than the other. Do we see that? One is slightly shorter, one is longer. We're going to talk about these long ones.
That's the minute.
I'm going to make my long hand, and I'm going to make it thicker than my second hand.
It's the minute hand. That's what mine is.
Alright. This hand, Bowen is correct, is called my minute hand, and it counts the minutes. Now, earlier, well, I don't remember who was telling me, if you were to stare very closely at that minute hand, you'll notice it's moving slightly. Even right now, it's moved slightly. Why is it moving slightly?
Because the second
This
hand.
would be a great time to raise your hand. Cole, why is it moving slightly?
Because the second hand's moving.
Not just because the second hand moving.
Because all the hands are moving.
Nope. We're not just moving just because someone else is moving. Rowan, what do you think?
Because the second hand is moving and it's moving with it because it doesn't, the second hand doesn't stay on the minute and then just move the next thing after.
The seconds create minutes. So as I get more seconds, I'm getting closer to a minute. Does that make sense? As I get more seconds, I'm getting closer, Paxton, to a minute. As I get more seconds, I'm getting closer to a minute. We have one more hand. It's pretty short in comparison. It's also pretty wide.
So why?
Go ahead and draw that hand. All right, what's up, Jimmy?
Aren't we going to learn about milliseconds?
No, but that is just a smaller unit of time.
It's a smaller unit.
Millisecond.
This
A
last
decade.
hand that we see on a clock is called our hour hand. It is representative of the hours that are passing. Now look at that hour hand. Look at that hour hand. This would be a great time to look at the hour hand. What are we noticing about the hour hand? Julian, what do you notice about the hour hand? It is short. What else do we notice about the hour hand? Emma? That hour hand is moving. It is moving. I'm noticing that hour hand is not exactly on the 10. Look at it. Do you see that? It's like a little bit past the 10. I wonder why that is. Why do you think that hour hand is just a little bit past the 10? Addison?
No.
So on my clock, Paxton Colby, if I'm looking at my hour hand, it's not exactly pointing at the 10
10:22.
because I've got a few more minutes and I'm getting closer to what hour now? 11. And then at some point I'll be exactly on the 11. And then I will be off the 11 because now I'm getting more minutes until I get to the 12. Raise your hand and tell me, you don't need to draw it. Raise your hand and tell me what time is this clock? I'm realizing that we've talked a lot about hours, but we have not talked a lot about the minutes. So pause for a second. We are going to write this down. I'm just going to back up to my percent clock.
10:05.
We already talked that each of these numbers, big numbers, represents 1 hour. So when the hour hand points at them, that is worth 1 hour. Well, let's talk about our minute hand. Connor told us there were how many minutes in one loop? Connor, how many minutes were there? 60. Those 60 minutes are all around. Conveniently, they're in groups that I can count with very easily. What are some numbers that you can count by very easily, Arik?
Honestly,
2s. They're not arranged by 2s, but that'd be really cool if they were, huh? Yeah. Ava, what's another easy skip count number? 5s. Each of my numbers, make a little flower petal, is worth 5 what?
5.
What am I counting? Why is it not rating? 5 minutes. So then if I go from here to here, that's another 5 minutes. If I go from here to here,
5.
if I were to count and loop all the way around, how many would I get? If I were to loop just like that, make my flower petals all the way around, what number would I end at? Oh, not 90.
60.
Archer? 60, because 60 minutes is worth an hour. So one loop around for the minute hand is worth an hour. One loop around for the second hand is worth a minute. And one loop around for the hour hand is 12 hours. Marley? So let's look at the time on this clock. When I read or tell a time, I start with the hour. Look at the hour hand. What number is that hour pointing to? The hour hand. I should see every single hand because we just talked about which one was the hour hand. Paxton? 10. 10. This 2 dots signifies I'm now going to change my unit. I'm going to talk about minutes. My minute hand is pointing at the 1. Does that mean 1 minute?
No.
What does that mean? It's hard, but if I look up here, I can see my dashes, right, Colby? If I were to count those dashes, how many would there be? Not all the way around. I mean, between 12 and 1, how many would there be? Not 12. Ava? Nope, not between 12 and 1. Jordan? There's only 5 minutes from 12 to 5. Or sorry, to 1, sorry. Which means I have 0, 5 minutes. This is worth 5. I can put as many zeros as I want in front of it and it's still going to be 5. It's too loud and too soft. So I would read this time as 10:05. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Let's try another one. Ooh. Let's start with the hours. Where is my 3. So what hour is it? It's somewhere between a 2 and a 3. So what hour is it? That's tricky. Rogan, drawing pictures on pen. Avery?
Well, isn't it 2?
It is 2. It's almost to the 3. But is it at the 3 yet? No. So it is 2 something. Now I need to look at my minutes. Argue with us?
It doesn't have the line numbers. So
It does not have the lines, but I can get close. I know I'm going to start at 12, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I'm not going to go to 30 because I'm not quite pointing at the 6 yet. Does anyone have a good guess? Well, that's right. We don't have the lines, so we can't tell exactly, but we can make a pretty close guess. Paxton? It's not going to be 25. I know it's not going to be 25 because if it was 25, my minute hand would be right on the 5. Oh,
Maybe 228.
maybe 28. 28 is pretty close to 30 minutes, which I know would be my next. If I were to keep going, that 6 is worth 30 minutes. So maybe 228. Rogan? Maybe. Marlon? Maybe. Let's look at that hour hand again.
2:30.
Where is the hour hand? I should see every single hand because it's not a trick question. Where is the hour hand? Colby? Between the 2 and the 3. So what hour is it? It is a 2. It's almost 3, but it's a 2. 2 in some minutes. How many minutes? That's 6 minutes. 30. Very good, because I'm going to start at 12 and go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I'm exactly at that 6, which means exactly 30 minutes. 2 hours and 30 minutes. No, not yet. I'm getting there. Like in the next 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll come back.
All right.
Peanut.